This tutorial demonstrates how to use Microsoft Excel to identify waste activities that occur in your institution. Insights gained from this data can be used to optimize product selection, which may help reduce waste. In this tutorial, you will learn how to download reports from your automated dispensing system to identify waste transactions. Use Microsoft Excel to identify waste practices and opportunities to optimize product selection, potentially reducing waste. Identify automated dispensing cabinets with the most waste transactions to better align your inventory with clinical practice. Benefits of optimizing product size, taking special note to match product availability that closely aligns with commonly ordered doses of controlled substances include less turnover of controlled substance waste disposal systems, less pharmacy time devoted to reconciling discrepancies in waste, along with nursing time devoted to the wasting process. Fewer waste events, which helps minimize the risk of diversion. To determine which waste events you may eliminate by matching product size to your practice, use this table. In the following tutorial, we analyze waste from fentanyl 100 micrograms per 2 milliliter injection. For hydromorphone and morphine, you will want to analyze the products seen in this table and the corresponding waste amounts. If you don't use all of these strengths, you can eliminate those from your analysis. To start, you will need to export a report from your automated dispensing system. To download the report, follow the instructions on the screen. You might want to pause here until you have the report downloaded. These systems occasionally update their reports. If you are unable to find the report using these instructions, look for a report that includes all waste transactions and the amount of drug wasted. Step 1. Insert a pivot table. Now that you have your raw data in an Excel workbook, you will insert a pivot table. To do this, click on any cell within the dataset and then navigate to the Insert tab. Under the Insert tab, select Pivot Table to summarize the information in the worksheet. Note: for this tutorial, we are using Microsoft Excel for Microsoft 365. If you're using an earlier version of Excel, pivot tables may be under Table or Data along the top navigation rather than Insert. A Create Pivot Table dialog box will appear. Table/range is pre-populated, showing that you have selected the entire dataset. For where to place your pivot table, select New Worksheet and click OK. Step 2. Edit your pivot table fields. Once you hit OK, a new sheet will be added. Let's start with fentanyl. You will notice a Pivot Table Fields pane where you can edit and customize your pivot table. In this pane, you select the appropriate data headers to manipulate the data by dragging and dropping any of your existing table fields into one of the 4 fields in the pane. Please note, this is an example of Pyxis data. Here are the fields you will need for Pyxis and Omnicell. First, select the Med Description field name and drag it down into the Rows field. Next, select the Waste Amount field name and drag it down into the Rows field. Then, select the Waste Amount field name again and drag it down into the Values field. Adding the waste amount in the Values field will calculate the frequency of different waste amounts. Now you can see the different waste amounts for each drug and how often they occur. Step 3. Filter drug name and waste amount. In this example, we are looking for fentanyl 100 microgram per 2 milliliter products. First, click the drop-down arrow for the Row Labels column. Then, search fentanyl. Unselect all products except fentanyl 100 microgram per 2 milliliters. The drug naming conventions may vary in your system, so search for either 50 micrograms per milliliter and then a 2 milliliter injection, or sometimes the drug name will be listed as the total drug strength. In this case, it's the fentanyl 100 micrograms per 2 milliliters. Once you have selected the appropriate drug, hit OK. Now you can see a list of waste amounts sorted from smallest to largest. To sort the list in order of the waste amount happening most frequently, right-click the cell in the Count of Waste Amount column and select Sort, followed by Sort Largest to Smallest. The waste amount that occurs most frequently is at the top. In most cases, it is 50 micrograms. We are looking for a waste amount of 50 micrograms because that means that the dose was 50 micrograms. Since there is a 50 microgram per 1 milliliter product on the market, using a 50 microgram product here theoretically could eliminate all of these waste transactions because the ordered dose matches the product being dispensed. Note: you can highlight the drug name and waste amount in a different color for quick reference. Step 4. Calculate percentage of waste transactions. One additional value that is beneficial to know is the percentage of all waste transactions 50 micrograms represents. To calculate the percentage represented by 50 micrograms, return to the pivot table fields, select the waste amount from the field name list, and drag it to the values field. You now have a new column that duplicates what you already have. To see what the waste events represent as a percentage, go to the new column added, right-click one of the value cells, and select Value Field Settings. In the dialog box, choose Show Values As, select % of grand total from the dropdown, and click OK. The field has been updated to display the percentage of each waste transaction compared to the total amount. Within the given time frame, there were 3,544 waste transactions in total. Out of those, the 50 microgram waste transactions accounted for 52.71% of all the transactions. Waste transactions can be eliminated by using products that more closely align with clinical practice. In this example, using a 50 microgram per 1 milliliter syringe may eliminate 52.71% of the waste generated by the 100 microgram product. Step 5. Identify waste at the cabinet level. To utilize this data and come up with an inventory implementation plan for your new products, you will want to determine where this waste is happening in your hospital. First, let's select the entire pivot table and copy it. To copy an entire pivot table, select anywhere within the pivot table, and then go to the Pivot Table Analyze tab. From the Select dropdown, choose Entire Pivot Table. Now, you can easily copy and paste anywhere you want. Note: to expand columns, double-click between each. Next, you should filter the data in the copied table to focus only on transactions that involve 50 micrograms and identify where they occurred within the hospital. To do this, select a cell in the Waste Amounts column and apply a filter. Then, unselect all options except the 50 micrograms to view the relevant data. To identify where this waste is occurring, return to your pivot table fields and find Waste Station in the list of field names. Select Waste Station and drag it into the Rows section. You will now see the cabinet locations within the hospital where you use a 50 microgram dose. Next, you need to sort the values to identify the areas with the most significant impact to help you operationalize a change in your hospital. To view waste events by areas of impact, right-click on the Count of Waste column, choose Sort, and then select the largest to smallest option. By doing this, you will be able to see where transactions with 50 micrograms of waste occur more frequently. You can see that 1,868 is a portion of the total waste transactions from that fentanyl 100 microgram. We then take those 1,868 waste transactions and break them down to the cabinet level to identify where the waste occurs. You can use this information to help you decide what you want par levels to be for your new product. To extrapolate these waste transactions into an annualized estimate, you can use the following calculation. You can also determine nursing time associated with this waste with the following calculation. This calculation only accounts for one nurse. To account for the waste witness, you can double this time. Thank you for your efforts in reducing controlled substance waste. For assistance in identifying waste transactions within your institution, please email us, and our pharmacy support team will follow up.